I thought we couldn't go any smaller after these two, but boy oh boy was I wrong. What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Transformers 1 Prime Changers ORION PAX. Now, when I saw the official revealed images of this figure, I was not expecting him to be so tiny. But here we are 2 months later, he's finally showing up in shelves, along with the other figures. But before we take a look at the figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging, which of course has a new sort of art style. On the front is this nice artwork of the alt mode for Optimus Prime, and of course the rest is all words, names, and logos. On one side of the box is all 4 of the main protagonists for Transformers 1, and on the other side is just ORION PAX. On the top is a Transformers 1 logo, and on the bottom is of course all boring. But you turn to the back, and you get a little bit more info of what you get inside the packaging. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the box. Moving on to the figure. So starting off, painting and sculpting, pretty good. I will say, however, there is not much paint going on. I mean, there's of course slight silver paints on certain parts of this figure, and then perhaps some blue around the chest, and a few smidges of yellow here and there. But other than that, the rest of the plastic, it's its own paint. Nothing repainted. Now, details wise, on the front looks really nice. Not too much mechanical details going on. After all, this is a mainline figure. Also happen to notice the wheels are sticking out over here. And then you turn to the back, is also relatively clean. I mean, of course there is, I guess you could count this as backpack kibble, but it's not too big of a deal as it stays there nice and snug. On the back of the legs, you can see the wheels right there, and looking at the feet, it does look a little smushed in, but I see they're taking inspiration from the G1 Prime's feet. Also, that head sculpt looks nice. It's really interesting how they were to make such a detailed head despite it being so small. And now, quality-wise, well, on one hand, you have joints that move just fine, and on the other hand, you have stuff that's absolutely wobbly. One concerning part is that there's a lot of wobbliness from the hip over here all the way down to the legs. And moving the shoulders up and down is not too easy too. It works fine over here, but if you move it too much, you could accidentally untab the arm, and no one wants that. As previously mentioned, this chest part likes to move up and down a lot, which, if exposed a little too much, looks as if it is begging to be stabbed. And of course, the one QC issue that sticks out like a sore thumb for this figure is on my copy, the side of the antenna is a little cracked. Just make sure not to drop this figure face down, otherwise you'll probably end up with this. I suppose these parts are very weak. So yeah, be on the lookout for some QC issues in case you pick up this figure. But now, moving on to accessories. Starting off, he comes with what appears to be these nice smokestacks, which do of course belong on the shoulders. You can also get creative and have him hold both smokestacks with his hands as if they were dual-wielded pistols. Moving on to another accessory is his bright blue axe, which simply slides onto his hand. And now, here's ORION PAX fully equipped. In case you got floppy hands like my copy, sometimes the sword will end up being a little lopsided. But hey, there is in fact weapon storage. Not gonna lie, looks cool on his back. Anyways, there is one more accessory, that being if you open the chest and you open this gray section outwards, there should be a matrix chamber, which has this really tiny matrix of leadership. This is what it looks like. It looks completely different from what we're used to most of the time whenever there is a Generations-ish G1 sort of figure that comes with a generic matrix of leadership. This one, however, looks different. And of course, you could have him posed along the matrix of leadership as if he were to light his darkest hour. What's that? You're upset he doesn't come with an actual rifle? Well, if you take the rifle from the mainline Rise of the Beast Prime, it kind of looks as if it was meant to be for this guy almost. So of course you can go ahead and put in that blaster for this guy. And I think that's pretty much it for accessories. Now moving on to articulation. Starting off, barely a ball joint at the head, but of course there is ups and downs, and a swivel, full rotation at the arm, shoulder smokestacks can rotate, double bend at the shoulder, bend at the elbow swivel. This doesn't necessarily count, but ups and downs for the wrist, waist swivel. If you want, I guess this could also be a backwards ab crunch. Legs can spread, leg can move forward, can move backwards, knee swivel, bent at the knee, and unfortunately no articulation for the foot. And yeah, that's pretty much it for articulation. Not too much going on, but it's still alright. But with the articulation out of the way, we can now move on to size comparison. Starting off with the Dark of the Moon Deluxe Optimus Prime, Mainline Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime, Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime, Studio Series Bumblebee Movie Optimus Prime, Studio Series Bumblebee Movie B127, Cliff Jumper, Brawn, Wheeljack, Concept Art Sunstreaker, Ratchet, Ironhide, RC, the only Elita I own, and lastly, here he is next to the Studio Series Bumblebee Movie Megatron. This comparison is not fair. But anyways, here he is alongside some other Bumblebee Movie characters. Hopefully we get to see more of these guys in their TF1 forms, especially B127 and Elita. And now with the size comparison out of the way, we can move on to transformation, which is pretty straightforward, albeit a little fiddly and finicky. Starting off, what you simply just want to do is fold in the hands and rotate this entire gray section, and the smokestack will rotate backwards as well. Same process applies with the other side of the arm. The entire chest piece will untab. You might also want to move this gray section outwards as well. Before untabbing the back section, please be sure to move this head upwards before you go ahead and close that in. Otherwise, you might break one of the antennas. I believe that's how I broke mine. Shift the arms downwards, rotate this top section, crunch this ab backwards, move the front of the truck downwards, and after that, this entire assembly will close in. Shift this entire section inwards, make sure that tabs in, and make sure that slot tabs onto that tab like so. Same thing for the other side, and now we can work on the legs. This side section on the legs will open up, hinge the entire assembly backwards, and make sure that slot pegs onto that tab right there. After that, close all of this in. Same thing for the other leg. Now, before you close everything in together, you might want to go ahead and have this plugged in like so, and then make sure these two tabs close in onto that hole of the axe, and then make sure this tab and slot on the bottom plug in together. And here we have Mainline Prime Changers TF1 Orion PAX in its alt mode. This thing is tiny. This is how big my hand is compared to the figure, transformed in the alt mode. Although I still think, despite this guy being in his robot mode, my hand would still be bigger. The truck mode still looks nice and clean. It's very simplistic. Everything folds and tabs in together quite nicely. Nothing's loose, thankfully. Of course, there is the back of the axe sticking out on the back of the truck, but it's not that big of a deal, as this is a form of weapon storage. The wheels roll nicely. However, what I noticed with this figure is that there's no extra accessory where you plug it in over there and it's extra guns on the front, as there is something like that on the Studio Series, I believe. Since these side smokestacks are individually articulated, you can move them out as if he were to shoot at some Decepticons, just like in the movie. Which, of course, these are also blast effect compatible in case you want to make things a little bit more movie accurate. So yeah, overall, pretty solid truck mode. For a brief comparison, here he is alongside another Deluxe class Optimus Prime figure that I own, the Dark of the Moon Deluxe class Optimus Prime. I'm sure back in the day, some people considered this to be quite small, a little too small, but nowadays that's just not the case, as this thing is incredibly smaller than this. And lastly, here he is alongside the Rise of the Beasts main line Optimus Prime alt mode, which I think is still pretty small, especially for Voyager size. Again, it is quite interesting seeing all three different versions of the movieverse Optimus Primes. It's also interesting seeing them all together. But out of the three smallest figures out of here, let me know in the comments down below which one's your favorite. And I think that's pretty much all I had to say. Overall, pretty solid Deluxe. He's a little tiny, but for only $20, it's not too bad. If you are looking to pick this figure up, you'll have a chance to find him at Target, but not all the Targets have him. So I suggest you search thoroughly. Amazon also has him, only double the price he's originally supposed to be, so yeah, no. There is also the Studio Series version, but I'm not sure how easy it is to pick that figure up. But yeah, for those who have the Studio Series Optimus Prime, let me know how he is. I sure can't wait to find mine. I just have to look. But anyways, I look forward to seeing the new Transformers 1 movie, and I sure hope Hasbro does more of these figures, let alone the Studio Series. Now anyways, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another video. Let me know how I did in this video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See ya!